Okay, this is our video demonstration of the MBraun Unilab glove box. Okay, this system, the power up is over here. The power up switch, the main switch is on the side of your the box. This box will be disconnected from the glove box. So I want to go through a few of the connections here that you'll need to make. But anyway, let's start with the your typical power up screen. It will be right here. I have the pressure range set to plus and minus 1 millibar. As you can see, the oxygen is at 0.6 parts per million. Moisture is at 1.2 and dropping. I had the system powered off over the weekend and powered it back up this morning, so it's been slowly dropping from where it was when I turned it back on this morning. You see, these gloves are new. They're held on by 2 O-rings here. These gloves will be removed. I typically place them inside the large antechamber. As you look inside here, you can see that there's a filter inside. You have one shelf. And there's also a 110 outlet power cord coming in. On the bottom here, you'll see that there's one. Where is it now? Here's one glove port changer, and then your instruction manual, which is for this system. So, like, quickly going through the screen, I'll show you some of the main functions. Again, everything is explained in the manual on how to operate this system, so I'll just go through a few of the functions here. Here is where you'll turn your circulator on and off, analyzer on and off. There is, I'll shut the circulator off for a quick second here. Regeneration is started here on this button. Quick purge here, I'll go over that later. And then your box light. Turn your light on and off inside the box here. Actually, the light's on the outside, up underneath here. And then you can turn your vacuum pump on and off. So I'll go ahead and just put the circulator back on. And then when you're done with that, you'll go ahead and just hit end. And you're back to your main screen. To set your parameters of your pressure inside the box, you go ahead and hit the icon there, and you can see your working limit. I have the upper set to 1, lower to -1. Hysteresis, upper and lower limits. You go to more, you see none of this exists on the box. There's no freezer and no cooling on the box. Hit end, you get back to your main screen. Common parameters, just cover that real quick. You can look at, you set your alarm limits, for instance, here. And again, all of this is explained in the manual. What else do we have in common parameters? Max values, operating hours, trends, system, service. No cooling allowed, available on this system. So we'll just go ahead and hit it end. I just want to point out one thing here too is the small antechamber here has this handle added to it. So because of that, this this is correct, although the writing is upside down. If you want to go ahead and refill a box, for instance, you'll go ahead and turn the handle in this direction, and you'll see that the pressure has come back up to atmosphere 0 inches of mercury, and then we'll go ahead and evacuate it by turning the handle in this direction. And you see it'll pump it out. I typically leave the system under vacuum, both the small antechamber and the large, in idle mode when we're not using it. As for your large antechamber, start it out there. See, it's under vacuum, and the way to evacuate the large antechamber is you manually will operate this handle down here. That'll go ahead and turn, it'll put the vacuum pump to the chamber. You'll evacuate the chamber using this ball valve here. As you can see, it's under vacuum now. If you want to go ahead and vent it, you'll use your backfill valve here. Backfilling back up to 0. Shut the backfill off. Go ahead and evacuate. Okay, so that's what you would do to refill and evacuate your antechambers. Quickly look over here on our this right here is our scroll pump. That's your vacuum pump. Here's your valving manifold. Again, all this is explained in the manual. Down here is your circulator. And back here with the heat jacket, the insulation jacket on it is your purifier. Underneath here, I don't know if you can see from this angle, we'll have to go around the back. This white thing in the back here, this is your heat exchanger. So what happens is your circulator is going to generate a little bit of heat. The return flow back to the box is through this line here, and just pointing that out too is I'm going to disconnect it at this point here. It's a little hard to see. Using this KF fitting here, it'll be disconnected there. But anyway, once it comes out of the circulator back into the box, picks up a little heat. The heat's going to be taken off using this heat exchanger here, and we have a house chiller using a Nestlab RT211 here, set at 20 degrees Celsius, supplying water to the heat exchanger. Typically, I'll put the cooling line, the inline to the bottom, the return back to the chillers up here on the top. I'm going to pop these two lines off. This is the house supply of water. You'll have to supply your own. And it's just a push on, I've got a 3/8 inch tubing on there, so you'll probably want to put your own water lines on there. Right next to that, you'll notice that there's a sensor here with the green connector. That's your pressure sensor. Again, that'll be disconnected from the unit in order to get this box separated. This will come as 2 units here. So that'll have to be connected, this green connector, to your GP101, which is your pressure sensor. Right there. Down here is your quick purge valve. Let's see if I can get a better angle of that. Quick purge valve down here. This is your return from the box. Up here. So as you can see the flow, it's going to come to this T here. This valve is normally closed other than when you're doing a quick purge. And the gas is going to return back through this line here into the a valve here that'll allow the gas to go through the purifier, back out through VHA. It'll go in through VHE. You see that there? Through the purifier, back out of the VHA valve, through the purifier, and then back into the system. So that's the flow direction. Over here too is when you're doing a quick purge, it's going to supply your inert gas. It's going to close the VHA and VHE valve and open this valve here, your quick VSE. It's going to allow nitrogen, and in this case we're using nitrogen as an inert gas. It's going to allow it through this ball valve, ball valve here with the green handle. You can adjust the flow, and it's going to go ahead and the purifier is closed at that point. and go through the purifier back into the box. You'll return here through the quick purge valve and then out through the exhaust. So the bottom line here is your exhaust port. As you can see, I have the vacuum pump exhaust connected to that line. I'll step around the back to show you. So this is the exhaust of the vacuum pump. Follow that back. Connect to this line here. This line here is eventually going to be connected if you follow it all the way out. The lower it is too. The upper is the gas flows in this direction, going back to the purifier. The lower one's your exhaust, and what you'll do is go ahead and hook up an exhaust right here to your exhaust that you have inside your facility. Now there is a check valve on it. You'll receive it just like this. I just want to point out while we're here is we do have our oxygen sensor. And our moisture analyzer here. You see that's the moisture probe, the range 0 to 500 ppm for the moisture. Connected with a green connection here, labeled H2O sensor. And then here's your oxygen here, 0 to 100 or 1000 ppm. So the return from the box is first across your moisture probe through this line and be picked up by the oxygen sensor and then right back to your purifier. I just want to point out too, we do have, we're using a nitrogen cylinder here with a regulator. This is our house equipment. You'll have to provide your own nitrogen and regulator. This is what we use in-house. And you can see I have it set to just above 90 psi. We got an on-off valve here. And this unit here, I have a T, so your stainless steel line here is your line coming in for your box operation. The other line here is being used for a purge. So when you purge your antechambers, whether it's the small or large antechamber, it's going to come in through here. So when you receive the system, I'm going to disconnect this line off this quick disconnect. This half-inch line here is being set up inside here. This is that line coming in. And it's being used to backfill both your small antechamber as well as your large antechamber. I want to point out too, because you're using a cylinder, what they do is they put a check valve on your on the large antechamber, set at 1 psi. That way you won't overpressurize your antechamber if you forget to shut it off once it reaches atmospheric pressure. You don't want to pressurize it up to the cylinder of 90 psi. So what they do is they put a check valve here, and it's just exhausted out this opening here. Well, the same is true with your small antechamber. Let's see if I can find that check valve. Here's the check valve for the small antechamber. And again, you don't want to overpressurize that antechamber. So what they do is they put a check valve there, and that's bled off through this line here. You can just leave it open, or you can go ahead and attach this to your exhaust if you need. Same with this one too. This can be connected to the exhaust, but it's just left wide open now. It's just we're just using nitrogen in this case, so. But if necessary, you can bring that into your facility exhaust. There's a line up here leading up to the where the lighting gets connected. That too will have to be disconnected. So this box is going to be separated. It'll come in two pieces. It's going to be disconnected probably right Where did I disconnect the last one? Probably right here at this fitting here. This blue line will be taken off. That's just your airflow for your, this blue line here will be taken off. That's your air pressure to operate these valves, these are pneumatic valves. And they require somewhere around 90 psi to operate. So you do have this valve and these two that are all connected with this blue line, which is just your nitrogen supply line. Okay, I think I covered all the utilities on it. It's a one-time system. Let's see what the voltage current requirements are. So it's 115 volt, 20 amp. And I guess the last thing is to show you too is there is a foot switch on here, and that'll increase and decrease your pressure in the box. You can position that wherever necessary, but I have it right here in front of the panel, the operating panel. The right side is to evacuate. No, the right side is to pressurize it, excuse me. Left side is to evacuate. See, I'm evacuating, gloves are being pulled in. It'll only go to -1 because that's where my range is set at. Now I'm pressurizing it. Just by using the foot switch. Okay, so what I'll do is I'm just going to recycle the large antechamber for demonstration purposes. Well, actually, I'll bring them both up to atmospheric pressure. Remember to close your vacuum on both sides. Make sure this is in the center position. Yeah, typically left in the center position. And to refill it, I'll just go ahead and turn the valve this way. We'll go ahead and open the door. And as you can see, this has a little container that's on the slide. You can slide in and out. Place your work inside here. And as far as your large antechamber, just go ahead and open this up. You do have a sliding shelf here. I want to point out it's probably best because the nitrogen is backfilling at all right now. Without closing the valve, the nitrogen is still being flowing into the large antechamber. So what we'll want to do is go ahead and close that, and we'll do the same here. Put it at the halfway point. That way you don't waste your nitrogen at that point. Again, it's whatever inert gas is being used. We typically use nitrogen in these boxes here for demonstration purposes. But you can use argon, helium. Alright, so normally what you do is you go ahead and you put your work on the table or the shelf, slide that back in, or inside this container here. Close that off, or one at a time. You don't have to do both, of course. Close them up, lock them down. And then just manually evacuate. And we'll do the same on both at once. We had them both open. It's recommended to do 3 cycles of evacuate and refill in both cases. Bring it back up to the 0 mark after 3 refills, and you can go ahead and open either the inner door here for the small antechamber, or go ahead and open the inside door for your large antechamber. That's going to take some time, and I just wanted to show that the system is operational as advertised. It comes with 2 sensors, scroll pump, heat exchanger was added. You got 2 anti-chambers, large and small, new gloves, and you can see that it's fully operational. Okay, so that's our demonstration for the MBraun Unilab.